Hey y'all, it's Nikki. Welcome to another episode of the WERKin Mommas podcast. Today is a hashtag career combos episode where I am answering some career questions that I received. This one I received from LinkedIn, and for those of you who are, let me back up. For those of you who are here for the first time, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you for finding this podcast and coming over to my subdivision of the internet and hearing what I have to say. Um my podcast is really for everybody. There's some small business tips, there's some accounting tutorials for CPA candidates and accounting students. And of course, career combos, hashtag career combos is the hashtag that people use to send me career questions that they have that they want me to answer. And also once a week on LinkedIn, I um I don't know what the official title is. I don't know if it's like a career coach or whatever it is, but I have a setting on my LinkedIn account that they invited me to use where I'm an expert in the accounting field. And so I field these questions from different people on LinkedIn, whether in my network or not, who ask me questions about how to move up, how to get their work notice. They're looking for interns or they're looking for internships. They're trying to land their first job. Just so many different things. And so, being that I've been in the out here in these accounting streets for almost 20 years now, I've learned a thing or two as an employee and also as a manager of people. And so, being a Black woman in corporate America has its own challenges. And whatever I can share with people, especially those who look like me, and give them some insight into how to navigate their career. And they're probably dealing with some similar experience that I've dealt with or that I could still be dealing with. I always like to share that information and really give them a perspective from somebody who looks like them, somebody who's walked in those same stilettos that they're walking in, and just help somebody from the proactive standpoint so that they don't make a bad decision just because of not knowing, just because of lack of information. So, those of you who have been rocking with me, welcome back. Thank you. I appreciate you. I hope y'all got y'all drinks. I have water today. Still pretty good. It's room temperature now, but I have water today. No limes, no turmeric, no ginger, just plain old water. So let me jump into this question that I got. So I got this one from LinkedIn, and the person asks, what new skills do I need to move ahead? And let me see the whole question. What skills do I need to move ahead? And how do I make sure my work gets noticed? So I've seen this question a lot on LinkedIn. So I guess people are in the space of where they're trying to move up in their careers. So we've just come off of annual performance evaluation season, bonus season, things like that. So I feel like now that that's behind us, people have gotten clarity either from their performance review, whether it went well or not, but people are getting clarity on where they are and where they need to be and the steps they need to take to get there. So that's why I feel like I'm seeing this question a lot. Also, that people are trying to get noticed. There's probably been some developmental type of conversations during review season to say, this is where you are, this is where I think you should be, here are some things you need to work on. If you want to be next in line to get promoted, this is what you need to do. So I give advice on LinkedIn and via email all the time, but I have just really seen an influx of people asking this very same question, like, how do you get ahead? So how do you even do that? The first step in all of this is defining what get there means to you. Get where? Where is it that you're trying to go in your career or in this organization? Is there a specific role or job title that you're after? And why do you even want this role? How does it fit into your short and long term goals? And I'm sitting here answering the question with multiple questions, but it's one of those situations where I have to. It's important to be clear and have answers to these questions so that you don't go down the wrong path. So let's unpack this question, and I'll use an example of a staff accountant. I work in accounting, so a lot of my examples and experiences come from that space. So let's say you're a staff accountant. In this role, you're usually a couple years out of school. There's a lot of transactional work. You're doing debits and credits and footing reports and make sure they make sense. And you haven't really gotten to the high level analysis type of roles. No direct reports. You're basically doing all the grunt work. So still very green in your career as far as experience goes. There's a lot for you to learn. The natural progression here is to a senior accountant role. So in this role, you know the general ledger pretty well. You understand what it takes to get month end close done. You're the go to for questions from the field, researching cost center variances. And depending on the company, you might have some direct reports or be the go to person for training employees and maybe even reviewing other people's work. So, using that example, what does it take for you to get from the staff accountant to the senior accountant? First and foremost, over everything else, get good at the job that you have right now. Right now, really good, as in nobody can do it better than you good. Perform there first, because if you're not performing right now, as your manager, there's no use in us even talking about you getting to the next level until you can handle what you have now. So think about your daily responsibilities, projects you've worked on, things you've done for your boss. How did those things go? And not really saying that it has to be perfect, but be aware of where your strengths and your developmental areas are. That is super cliche, the whole strength and weakness thing. Um, just something that just popped in my mind. Don't ever go into an interview and say that you don't have any weaknesses. I thought that that was a thing. I thought that was like so 2000, like people were over that. But even in 2020, people are still talking about, I don't have any weaknesses, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, moving on. So before you sit in front of your boss and say you want a promotion, come with some facts, come with some data, come with some things that you have improved, some ways that you have made getting the job done easier. Don't just have an emotional case where you feel like you deserve it. You've been here at this company for X number of years and you get up at 5 in the morning or you stay till 11 o'clock at night. None of that shit matters. Just because you feel like you deserve it. I mean, everybody, that's the thing, this whole sense of entitlement thing where people don't want to do the work no more. It's just like, look, I've been working at this company for 752 days, so it's time for me to move up. And it's not, again, going back to my original question, what are you after? What are you moving up to do? And just my own personal experience, I had a role that I stayed in for, I think I was in that role for almost 5 years. And I was working for one of those companies where the norm is every 24 months you move into a new role, whether it's a step up or whether it's a lateral move, you move into a new role. But what I was doing at the time, which was securitization at GE, y'all know I love GE. um I was doing securitization at GE, a lot of bond accounting, a lot of FAR content. For those of you future CPAs who are listening, that job was basically FAR every day. So if you think about the stuff you read in the book, all of that stuff was my job every day. I enjoyed it. And I had gotten to a point where I was asked if I was ready to move. And a part of me was, but securitization is such a niche area of accounting and finance that it's not one of those jobs that you can just find every day. And it's actually really cool once you learn the whole securitization process. But I wasn't ready to go. There were some things that we were doing as a company with our trusts, and it was probably something that wouldn't be done again for decades, probably. And so I wanted to be around to close the loop on that and see how this historic thing was gonna play out. And there were so many things that I learned and did in those 5 years, even with the same job title. So that's why I say be clear on what your goal is, because you can be chasing after something just because it's a title, just because it's a couple more dollars, and it might turn out to be something that you don't want. Or maybe you see somebody in the job and you envy what they're doing and you want to emulate that. And then you get in the role and you like, no, this is not what I thought it was going to be. So be clear about why you even want to move in the first place. Come with some data, come with some facts, not just wearing your emotions on your sleeve. And get good at your job now. That's key. That's step 1. Step 2 is be vocal. This is another one of those things that still baffles me, considering the workplaces and how they've evolved over the last few decades. But have career discussions with your boss. There are so many people that I talk to that tell me things that they're working on or things that they're doing that their bosses don't even know about. I have people that I've talked to in my coaching programs, in my CPA exam coaching programs, like, yeah, I try to study during this and this time because my boss don't know that I'm studying, or my boss don't care. And I'm like, how does your boss not know? Like, you're missing out on a sponsorship opportunity, first of all. But your boss knowing that you're studying for the CPA exam, you never know what type of career track they might put you on or create for you. So have those 101 conversations. And I'm going to put a link to my employee manager 101 template in the show notes. You can look at that template, you can print it out, or you can use it on your own. Write on it, make notes, and use that to initiate a discussion with your boss. Some people sit back and wait for the manager to say, hey, let me put a one-on-one on the calendar for us. And no, you should not be waiting for that. This is your career and you have to be in the driver's seat of your career, just like your manager is in the driver's seat of their career. And if you're not having a one-on-one conversation with them, it's probably because they're so focused on their careers and they're probably waiting for you. So have those conversations so that when you get to your annual review, it's a short conversation because y'all have been talking all year. So there's nothing new. There's nothing that you're blindsided by that's on your review. And you're not spending an hour with your boss having an awkward conversation trying to recap a whole year in one sitting. So have those ongoing conversations. Share what your career goals are, whatever that job is that you're interested in. And your manager might come back and say, oh, I didn't even know you were interested in that. Well, there's this big project going on this team and they're trying to fix A, B, and C, and boom. A, B, and C is what you've been wanting to do. So you can get on this project, get some exposure to whatever job you're interested in, and just get a feel for it before you're in it, before you're contracted into it or whatever the situation is, get a chance to get your feet wet and make sure you know what you're asking for. And I'm I'm giving this advice. I use accounting as a lot of examples, but I'm giving this high level advice to anybody. It really doesn't matter what industry that you work in, but you'll find unique things within your organization on what it takes to get you to the next level. Some companies have former mentor mentee type of programs. Those are okay, but I like my relationships to develop organically. But there might be affinity networks, there might be programs, development programs, so many different things that can give you exposure to what it is that you're after, and to also make your boss aware of what it is that you want to do. Your boss can also provide you with some insight into your performance. They might notice things that you don't notice about your work. So, if you're not having ongoing conversations with your boss, you should be. You should be. So please download the employee manager one-on-one worksheet in the show notes. The first time is going to feel awkward, especially if you're the one initiating the conversation, but there's some talking points on the worksheet that you can use to really help facilitate the discussion, get some direct feedback from your boss, their opinion on how you're performing, what you need to do to get promoted or get to where you're trying to go. Some some managers pay attention and some don't. And it's just like I said, that they are your manager, but they also have to manage their own careers. And that's the priority, and that's the motivation for a lot of people, is they're managing their careers and they're initiating conversation with their bosses, and they're probably expecting you to do the same thing. So just keep that in mind. It's up to you to drive your career. You own that. Don't wait for somebody to tap you on the shoulder and offer you a promotion. It does happen a lot of times, but your career is yours to own. The good, the bad, all the twists and turns are your responsibility. So that's why I created that sheet, to make it easier for you to have these conversations, and grab it, use it online, share it with your boss, hashtag career convos, and let me know how your meeting goes after you talk to your boss. Because I've had some people who download this worksheet, go and have a manager with their boss, and I tell them, like, hey, thank you for downloading the sheet. Let me know how the meeting went. And they'll come back and say, oh my God, it was such a great meeting. I don't know why I didn't do that before. My boss is actually really cool. And we have a follow-up conversation. And it really just gets the ball rolling and helps you to get to where you're trying to go and have some support behind you, so that somebody can advocate for you when you're not in the room. So, third and last thing that it takes to move up and make sure that your work gets noticed goes back to what I just said about the projects, is that you have to spend time with that job that you're after. So if you're a senior and you want, or if you're a staff accountant and you want to be the senior, spend some time with the senior, get exposure to what they do. You might have it in your mind an idea of what that job entails, and then you sit with the senior and you job shadow them, and you're like, oh no, I don't want to do this. This is not what I thought it was. So, going back to point number one, be clear on where you're going. Why do you want the job? Do you understand what it really takes beyond the money, the title change? Um, Make sure that you're clear on that. And there's so many things, just so many things to do, so many things to be aware of and think about. And so put your goals on paper and have a roadmap to help you get to where you want to go. And as you go through your career, or if you're listening to this episode at work, definitely share it, hashtag it career combos, or tag me at Nick Winston CPA, because I really want y'all to make the right decisions. And if I can help you through this podcast avoid some missteps in your career, then I'm all for that. Um, so on a personal note, I have always been pretty vocal with my managers about what I wanted to do with my career. Most of those conversations I have initiated, but there were certain environments and workplaces where the manager had basically laid a path for me to move up in the organization. So your promotion could be in motion right now. Oh, I like that. Your promotion could be in motion. That's cute. I like that. But anyway, but it could be happening behind the scenes and you don't even know. You can be getting implicitly groomed for a promotion. So maybe if you are taking on some extra work from the boss, or the boss is coming to you and asking you questions about how things are going and what things do they need to be aware of. So then this is where that implicit grooming, and why I say don't rush to get a promotion, because it might be working. It might be working for your good and you don't even realize it. Because these closed door conversations do happen. And when you have mentors, advisors, and sponsors in your corner, and it's time to sit with the senior leadership team and talk about the staff and talk about who's ready for a promotion and who's not, make sure that there's somebody or somebodies in that room that's advocating for you. So another point, I'm done with my three, but another point I wanted to make about mentors, advisors, and sponsors, the key to getting ahead and moving up in any company is to have support. Doing your current job well, sharing what your career goals are, and get exposure to those jobs that you want. Jump on a project that helps you build your network within your organization. Even if it's not something, if you're an accountant and we're working on a project to update all the SOPs and all the documentation, that means that you'll be working with somebody in some type of excellence role or operational efficiency type of role. So somebody outside of your core team. So that gives you an opportunity to build a network within your company, and then also build it outside of your company by joining professional organizations. I remember um, I remember one of my managers told me, like, wow, you network better than anybody I know. We were on the seventh floor, maybe. We were going to a meeting on the first floor, and we were walking down the hall. Like, we left our desk, walked down the hall to get to the elevator, and I ran into somebody I know. And then we got in the elevator, and I ran into somebody I know getting off as we were getting on. And then as we were walking to the meeting room on the first floor, I saw like 3 or 4 other people that I knew. All these people were from different departments. But I saw 3 or 4 other people that I knew who were leaving out of the same meeting room that we were about to go into. And so we just stopped, like, had a quick conversation. Hey, how's it going? Love your shoes. Let's do lunch, blah, blah, blah. And she was just like, wow, like, how do you know all of these people? And these are people that I've known through professional organizations, through working on projects internally, and just doing my work and doing great work. Because when you do great work, people will notice and people will want to root for you and advocate for you. So you want to move up, you want to get ahead. These are the 3 things that you need to do. I'm super happy to share my advice and my experiences with y'all. If this is helpful for you, then again, definitely share this episode. Shoot me an email or hit me up on Instagram at Nick Winston CPA. I'm happy to answer your career questions. Thank y'all for rocking with me. And until next time, I'll talk to y'all later.